Hello my dear friends, this is PaintyKat, my name is Catherine. Today we're going to paint landscape. I have some reference photos as well, and please check what materials you will need for this tutorial. Yes, we're painting with acrylic on a canvas. Tutorial real time, going for 2.5 hours, and it's available. Just follow links down below. Here we're going to paint a sunset, landscape, and you've been asking me about blending. It's actually one of the most popular questions about acrylics, I believe, and here I want to share to you one more way how to blend it softly, how to build up really beautiful and smooth gradient. First, just put thin layer of water on top of your canvas wetted with sponge. You don't need a lot of water, just a little bit, right? Spread it. Next, it's a thin layer of white on top, and this way your canvas will stay wet longer. Nothing tricky in blending with wet acrylics, isn't it? So for first, I recommend wet your canvas, some extra white on top, and all blending will go really smooth. By the way, I'm not blending colors actually right now. You can see really visible brush strokes, especially on a sky area. About sunset colors, just let me remind you shortly. Usually I'm start with a lemon, next it's a yellow medium, next it's a vermilion mixed with yellow medium, kind of orange shade I'd say, rose light, violet, violet deep, and cobalt blue. From this moment I will demonstrate process real time, and this is a blending. Colors still staying wet on my canvas because of those first wetting, and with a natural Bristol brush it's really easy to blend colors together. See, I can blend and all those sharp edges just gone. A really soft effect. I'm using a natural Bristol brush number 4. Usually we're painting sky and then clouds on top. Here it's another way, let's say opposite way. First it's a clouds color, all those pink and orange and yellow, and next I painted sky. This way I can reserve, let's say I can give a shape to clouds with a blue color. It was a mix of cobalt blue, white, and just a tiny bit of violet. Next it's some lightning, and let's jump to the next part, which is a background here. Forest. Well, I'm starting with a light green mix of yellow, subgreen and white, and as soon as I will go far from the shining spot, green will be deeper and deeper. I'm painting with a kind of short and small brush strokes right now because I need to create interesting looking line for forest. So go slow, don't be in a hurry, and don't paint with just single and solid line. This way our forest will look unnatural. As soon as line done, you can take any white and flat brush you have and spread dark green color everywhere on a hill area. This way you're saving actually lots of time. Sometimes we need to paint with the smaller brushes for better shape, for better control, for interesting outline of the shape, but as soon as you have to fill really huge area, save your time, grab bigger brush. Dark green. It was a green clean without any white in it, just subgreen. If you feel like it's not dark enough, I recommend to mix violet deep, let it dry a little bit, right? And let's take another brush, which is natural Bristol again, number 4. From the start, with the natural bristle brushes. I like to put it in a water, just in a clear water, leave it there for a couple of minutes, maybe 1 or 2, then wipe it with a towel and your brush ready to paint. I don't like to work with a really dry bristle from the start, so I like to have a dump, let's say. This way it's taking acrylic better from your palette and giving more soft, let's say, more soft brush stroke. It's not scratching your canvas, it's really giving very nice, soft, round shaped brush stroke with a soft edges. And this way I'm trying to touch my canvas gently with the tip of this brush. Tip not pointy, by the way. And brushstroke by brushstroke you can create maybe 2, 3, as much as you want to, trees or bushes down there. Important for first, don't use any yellow in a mix. Just mix a bit of white in this green and that's enough. Another brush for smaller details. I'm switching to the same. It's you even can see poles the same, looking blue and shiny, but number is 1, really small and tiny, giving me nice control on a shape. I can shape these bushes and trees, those crones, not only with a lighter shade. If I feels like this crone growing way too big, I can paint it smaller by using darker color from outside of the area, really easy. And just layer and layer brushstroke. It's taking time, that's true, but don't try to paint with a really long brush stroke with this kind of brushes, because it will ruin those fluffy shape of the crones. This way, painting going for the whole background. If you want to create here a tree a bit closer to you, you have to mix more yellow into the light shade. Let me complete this one and let's jump on another tree here. This one. Again, I'm starting with a light. Try to paint with a really short brush strokes. Spread color gently. Don't try to rip it in really deeply in your canvas. Put it on top. Sometimes you even can feel like it's a scratching on a canvas. And this is those brush stroke you're looking for. Try to pat your canvas. Each time you will return on your palette, your mix will change a little tiny bit, and that's fine. And try to paint step by step from the dark green to the middle green and then to the lightest green for your crown. Usually I like to paint trees and bushes from the dark color to the light, but also it's possible from the light to the dark. Let's take a look. It's a small field behind and under this tree. I painted first, I let it dry a little tiny bit, and now with a brush number 1, small one, right? I can paint, I can give a shape to this crown with dark green on top of the light color around it. Looking very interesting, especially because later possible to paint trunk or maybe twigs and branches in a silhouette technique, but contrast here have to be soft enough still. It's a background area, isn't it? So keep it soft, visible, but really gentle, and avoid, at least try to avoid really sharp edges between light on a tree and forest, dark forest around it. As soon as you're happy with your crown, I like to use for trunks and branches, I like to use a line brush. And this is a Daleroni number 2 graduate brush. color. I didn't include any brown for this painting, but look, let's try to mix it up from the colors you already have on your palette. What you need for brown, maybe for color like umber burn, it's vermilion, red color, it's yellow, can be yellow medium for example, and violet deep. Try to mix these three together and you can play around proportion in it. Maybe a little bit more red, maybe a little bit less violet, and at some point you will catch those brown. Next, here it's a coast. Again, this is a demonstration version, so I just want to talk about main moments and maybe some interesting points in this landscape. If you want to follow the whole painting with me, you need a patient and just follow me on a Patreon. Coastline, again, another color here, interesting to mix. Ochre, and yes, if you didn't catch how to mix it, of course you can open just a tube with a ready color or which is mixed by brand, and you can use clear brown or ochre for this painting. I just like to demonstrate you how possible to get more complicated shades through the just a simple colors. Ochre or ochre light, it's a combination of vermilion, yellow and green. And of course white, because with white you just can control a tone of it. If you feels like it's looking too saturated and unpleasant, you can add a tiny bit of violet into the mix. Yes, it's 4 colors in one plus white. Violet, it's an opposite color for yellow, so it's giving a tiny grayish tone into the mix, and ochre will look more gentle. By the way, why I like mixing more than just the clear colors from the tube? Because I'm not mixing colors completely on my palette. Yes, I mixed up those kind of well, but never till the end, till the just a single shade. It's always some different accents on my brush. So in a moment you will brush stroke this color on your canvas. It's giving those tiny stripes and areas that looking different at some points, and painting looking more rich in colors. About these plants I'm painting right now, brush number 2, Dararoni, it's a line brush. Let me know how to name these plants correct, cause everything I could find it's a cane, but when I try to search image for cane, it's not looking the same, cause these plants have a flower, maybe a flower, right? Brown looking, shaped as a candle on top. Cane looking not the same, and I just couldn't find how to name it correctly. Anyway, I like these plants because when I was just a small kid and I was spending a summertime with my grandma, she had these plants close to her little house. There was a small lake, and I really love it. I really like these plants. I think it's giving a nice details. It's really common everywhere. If you like it, you can paint the same. Also, I'm planning to paint it on a foreground here. If you don't, you can paint just a usual normal cane like this without those brown brown flower on top. Here, paint with a silhouette way, without any of highlights on top. It's just no need, because it's a middle ground. You don't have to detail it really well. And try to create this silhouette half transparent with those, let's say, windows, small areas of the water that's seen through the cane. It's have to be airy, only this way, silhouette looking beautiful. If you will paint too much of those lines of leaves and stems, it can look too solid. Try to control this moment. And for tiny leaves in the center of this lake here, I used a lighter green. Also, I wanna paint some grass here. You can use different brushes. It can be just a flat brush, but even more, I can recommend you zigzag brush from the set of different brushes 3/8. It's giving a nice effect of the grass. Next big part here in this tutorial, it's a reflection. And let me demonstrate you an easy way to create it. It fits nicely if you wanna paint calm water without visible big waves, let's say, and it's typical for sunset time. Just paint brushstrokes vertically with your flat brush and spread color on top of your canvas. Just slide with your brush, but don't rub it in. Don't rub those acrylic inside of the canvas. It's important because I like this moment when some blue can be seen still under the green in those small dots deep in a canvas structure. It's giving like a tiny sparkly effect. This green in the reflection have to be different a little bit, but still, look, some area here, some reflection darker, some lighter, and take a look on those plants, on those crows you trying to reflect. It's also have deeper green and a lighter green. Same, you can add a little tiny bit of white or yellow to control color and let it dry. Brush is important here because it's a flat, slanted, but the most important is really sharp edge of this brush. Color, it's a cobalt blue plus lots of white. Mix it, it's really light blue, and paint horizontal stripes. It's not a waves, I'd say it's a folds on a water, really soft one, or let's say it's a trembling water, but still it's have to look kinda calm. So it's just a tiny horizontal stripes with a blue. I like to paint with blue color here where I have a green reflections, but as soon as I'm touching line of reflection from the sun, I like to use a rose color, which is rose light plus white. It's also can be a peachy shade, rose light plus yellow and vermilion in it, and white, of course. Foreground. Here I'm just spreading light blue color because later I'd like to paint boats here. By the way, you can include or exclude any details you like here in this landscape because, you know, so many here. It's a boats, it's a swans. For example, you can paint just the boats and skip swans, and same with the birds. It's saving your time. Even if a tutorial going for 2.5 hours, you can complete it in just 1 hour if you will skip boats and swans. It will be just a landscape with different plants and greens there. Also beautiful. Let's talk about boats a little bit here. For beginners, I recommend to transfer shape of the boats from my sketch. You can find traceable following links down below. How to transfer sketch lines? First, you have to dry your painting. Usually I'm using just a hair dryer to do it faster. Then you have to put graphite layer on the back side of the sketch and just follow over line, and it will be transferred on your canvas. I have a short tutorial how to do it on my channel. Next, just fill the shape with a dark brown, and I already shared to you a little bit earlier how to get it from the colors we have here today. Paint from general to specific. So bake shape first with a dark brown color, next switch to the smaller brush and fill in a part of the boat with a light ochre color. I am painting seeds inside with, let's say, shadows under it. So I filled the inner area with a light color, then I switched to the darker and just creating these stripes inside. It's the shadows under the seeds. Same with the second boat. And don't forget about reflection. Boats still on the water, so of course you have to create brown stripes, spread it vertically again, same as you already did with a reflection from the background forest, and spread color. On top I painted plants a little bit more. I like to crisscross some objects on the foreground. If you like how boats looking without it, just skip this part. And next, it's actually last detail here. It's a big branch of the tree with a kind of big leaves. Again, it's a foreground part already, and imagine you're just staying on the coast, you watching this beautiful landscape. So leaves here big. I recommend to use brush number 8 from the set of different brushes. It's just a normal round brush with a pointy tip. Color. If you're painting on top of the dark background, use light green, lots of yellow and white in it. If you're painting leaves on top of the light sky behind it, switch to the darker yellow. This way you will have a nice silhouette. It's looking different but still beautiful on a different backgrounds, looking really rich. You can give a tiny vibe of autumn here. Here it will be visible. Of course you already have it here because sunset colors, it's the colors of autumn, all those yellow, orange, red, warm lights and tones. It's giving a feeling of late autumn. But you can bring more by painting orange and yellow leaves here on a foreground branch. I added a little bit of brown lines, which is twigs and branches there, and this detail done. Birds, it's tiny here because my canvas 20-30 centimeters. If you will go for bigger size, which is possible, it will be more easy to paint these birds if you will follow the same size. For paper, it's a letter size. You will have to switch to the really tiny brush. I'm painting with number 4 from the set of different brushes. Start with a light violet. Why? Because if you will paint with white on top of the green, green at some points will be still visible through the white. White usually half transparent, can't be at least. And you get a feeling it's a ghost of the birds. You have to create shape first with a violet color, light violet, and then give highlights on top. Shape for birds you can paint by yourself if you already have experience with it. If you don't and you still want to include this detail in your landscape, just transfer sketch lines from my traceable. Light here, important even if birds so small. Don't paint it with just a white silhouette. It's have a light on top of the body, on neck and a tail, and also it's really bright reflection on a body from the water, because water here very light. Also it's highlights on a wings I'm trying to be accurate here. I'm painting figures as well. And about white. White color, clear white, not sitting here in this composition well. After you complete it, shape for your birds, let it dry, and glaze it on top with a light orange. While you're glazing, don't mix any white in your color, it's just a mix of yellow and vermilion, transparent color, very liquid, it's like ink, and put really lightweight glazing coat on top. Very soft one touch. Painting done. I will put my sign here. And don't forget to sign your own paintings. Even if you're following tutorials, it's still your own painting created by your own hands. I hope you enjoyed this landscape. If you like it, subscribe my channel. And also welcome on my Instagram. I'll be really happy to see your paintings. Don't forget, #PaintyKat. Thank you from all my heart for your support and joining me today. It was a PaintyKat. I wish you all the best. Bye bye.